The soul has a different journey. Support, nourish, nurture the journey. Present moment awareness. It always improves our focus, concentration, cognitive abilities, overall well being. School is like a great movement that happens in the term of character building, mindfulness, consciousness, social behavior, personality, ethics.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another empowering episode on Great Principles, a show where we dive deep into the minds of visionary educators who has been shaping the future of our generation. I'm your host Seema Chhoriya, and today we have a remarkable guest who has dedicated her life to fostering sustainability and nurturing young minds. Joining us in this enlightening conversation is our esteemed guest, Miss Alka Singh. She is principal of Bluebells Model School, Gurugram. With her dynamic leadership and unwavering commitment, she transformed institutions into a beacon of sustainability, equipping her students with the tools that they need to thrive in an ever-changing into an ever-changing world. So let's delve in and welcome our guest of today, Ms. Alka Singh. Welcome to Great Principles, ma'am. We are very fortunate to have you with us and discuss much needed topic on sustainability.
Thank you so much, Seema ma'am. I would like to thank the complete team of the great principals out here for giving me this opportunity today to at least express my views. What generally gets constrained with the students, so it can maybe it helps out other students also. Thank you.
We are equally privileged, ma'am, to host educators like you, and this, truly motivates us to keep doing what we are doing. So now, before we start this engaging conversation, ma'am, we would first like to know a little about your journey. What has been your journey into education like? What have been some challenges and some accomplishments on the way? What are the moments that you cherish, and it will help you keep going on?
Uh, right. Seema, generally, how I start is why an educator? Why am I there as a teacher or as a principal? So, what motivated me to do that? So, to start off, my father, he was the first army officer from Sikar district from Rajasthan. And he impacted so many lives of the youth in Rajasthan, inspired so many to get educated in those times. And his philosophy was always never leave anyone behind. So he made sure he could help out whosoever he needed to be educated, or he felt that there's a potential out there. Seeing this since very childhood, so I always felt, what greater place than a school where you affect human beings the most. School is like a great movement that happens in the term of character building, mindfulness, consciousness, social behavior, personality, ethics. I think nowhere else something like this happens. Name a profession, name a place. It's just the school. So that's where I felt, okay, this is my place. So I started my journey from St. Michael's Academy long back, Chennai, almost 32 years back from Chennai. And from there, from St. Michael's Academy, moved to St. Dominic's, from St. Dominic's to Army School. As I was heading a school like Army Public School, Suratgarh, at the age of 32. So from there, the complete journey was there, and from moving to most, these schools like GD Goenka, Vasant Kunj, and Presidium, and now I'm at Bluebells. And for me, believe me, this is not just a profession; it's a mission. I feel it's my calling, and I always keep telling the teachers also, it's a calling that has come by choice. It's not a compromise what I made, saying that, okay, I left this job, so I'm in this profession. For me, it's very, very important. And what we're dealing, if you look at it, is with young minds whose the emotional quotient is still evolving. We're dealing with, as an army officer's wife and a daughter, I feel that we're dealing with character building of the nation, which in turn is obviously going to affect the development of the nation, the progress of the nation, where India stands now. See how people are looking at, they say India 2050, where India is going to be. So that's what we are shaping. So, as creators. I always keep telling the teachers, like soldiers take an oath. They take an oath saying that the country first and me is like I don't exist, or my personal life is the last. Similarly, as teachers, we're soldiers. I feel students first. So in my journey, I've always felt that way. And believe me, Seema, when you're talking about moments, what you cherish, each batch, each year, there is something special which is always there. So I can't just name few, but recent, if I talk about one of my student walking up and saying, "Ki ma'am, that day when you told me you have something in you, I realized there's something in me." And from there, from reaching becoming the school ambassador to becoming a professional now, so that's my journey. So, Seema, these small anecdotes are the ones which make us feel that okay, this is not just a job. It is a place where you can create so much. Year by year, the only thing what makes me happy is that spark, the twinkle in my students' eyes. For me, each moment where I see, yes, I got it. Yes, I can do it. That spark gives me that feeling of wow, yes, I'm at the right place. And never ever, I think, throughout my career, ever I felt, oh, why am I here? It is always like, thank God I'm here every moment, believe me. And I'm not saying just like that. I mean every word what I'm saying right now. For me, it is not just a job. It's divine. It's divine. Like this Ganeshji idol in my office. It's as divine as that. The school. It's for me is a meditative place. It's like a temple to me. Now, I don't have to go to this mandir, that mandir. If I come to school, this is my temple. This gives me that same sense of fulfillment, peace as I get, I would have got at any of the temples. And you know, imagine how great we feel is when we are connected to thousands of souls. It is not just souls, thousands of abilities, thousands of ethics, goals, dreams, aspirations, creativity. So that's what this job is all about.
Very beautifully expressed what actually an educator does. Hearing you today, I got completely a different perspective about what actually an educator does and what is the feeling of that contentment that one feels. It was not like some professional educator was talking. It was like a mother is talking from within, that how she feels about her students and that what is she's going to give back to them. That that selflessness was in your every word, that it is not any job that I'm doing it, as you rightly said, it's a mission. And that all I could sense today. So I think the most important part of being an educator is that you need to feel about it, that has to be your calling, you should be passionate about it, and you should give your best. And just results falls in, are you giving your best? That is what is important, and you need to feel for every student. And I'm sure, my dear listeners and my dear viewers, in ma'am's every word you must have sensed that, because I could feel her, hearing her out, that that yes, she has that thing within her, and that is where she is meant to be, and she has reached the right place. So ma'am, having decades of experience into it, and now that we have decided to talk on sustainability today, which definitely is needed, because with the advent of technology, we have done a lot of harm to our planet already. But now, how can we make our generation aware? Because it is a responsibility of each one of us to hand over our planet in a better condition than it was to the coming generation. So, how can we inculcate the value of interconnectedness of this ecological balance? So, let's discuss a little more on this and how education will play its role there.
Um, Seema, generally what happens is for, I would say, last 7, 8 years, we've been talking about SDGs, right? Sustainable Development Goals. And constantly, and how it started, I'll just share. I'd gone to UN and I was a speaker over there and speaker at the GA. And I was talking about innovation was my topic, what I had to speak at the UN. And when I moved out, So UNDP was right next there, and the SDG goals, there was this banner which was put up, and I stood there, I was going through it. Then you go inside, and there was this conversation which was on. Like, I was not a part of the conversation, I was just like outside and listening to it. So I said, okay, so this is something what we need to think about. From there it started, and slowly the whole movement I've seen gradually building up. Almost everyone has started talking about SDGs. Today, when I talk about sustainability, I just generally what the question comes is this sustainability what we are talking about, is it meant for everyone? Am I talking about the students of Bluebells, or tier 1, 2, 3 cities, everyone? There are schools where they're talking about, the, let's say, the roof is not there, and there's some maintenance which is required, the boundary walls are not there, safety security is not there. So all these things, they keep coming to my mind. That is the reason when we talk about sustainability, not just sustainability just to say sustainability, SDG, say water, save soil, or otherwise, like recently we did this campaign, say no to single use plastic. I feel sustainability should first come from the being, yourself. You know, in terms, so a little different perspective of sustainability I would like to talk about right now. Uh, Obviously, yes, when we say sustainability, technically, always we've been talking about leaving a world the way we are having the world right now for the future generation. A basic definition, what we generally keep talking about sustainability. For me, when I talk about sustainability, so I would say sustainability is something that passes the test of time, lives long, like forever, and it's flexible, and it keeps changing with the changing times. Like, for example, human life has sustained till now, but our lifestyles are changing with the changing times. So what we need to see is the earth is something what we need to talk about. Earth has sustained it till now, but it's also living with the changes. So for us, sustainability is choice of right survival, believe me. And as a student, now I come to the student's life, right? Not just talking about SDGs, or using of, let's say, the techniques which are or maybe using of renewable sources of energy. I would say, first of all, relate spirituality and sustainability. I heard the word what you used, interconnectedness of life, when you use this word, right? Similarly, over here, I want to talk about, interconnectedness of life and the importance of living in harmony with the natural world. Is it not more important? Like, if we can connect, like how Buddha said, what were his core teachings? Non-harming, non-violence, interdependence of all beings is what he talked about. And he kept saying, it's important we respect the nature. It's important we care about the nature. Since then, now, Buddha's teaching, what do they promote? The practice of mindfulness, right? And when I'm talking about mindfulness, is paying attention to the present moment with an open and with no judgment, like non-judgmental attitude. And why suddenly from sustainability am I talking? Because to have a sustainable attitude, first of all, I need to live in the present. Living in the past, nothing is going to change. Living in the future might give me little anxiety. Living in the present, what is best with non-judgment? I'm wrong, I'm right, I should not use. It's like just be in the present with a non-judgmental attitude, knowing that I choose the right, understanding that the whole nature is interconnected. So every action what I take right now, so again, go back what I said, core teachings: non-harming, non-harming the nature, non-harming any human soul. Then is, I said, non-violence. I'm killing animals, I'm killing, cutting trees. So no non-violence, even with humans. And understanding that we all have to live in the same, on the same earth. It belongs to us. So I feel for that, as students, first of all, we need to make them practice mindfulness. And when I'm talking about mindfulness, it's otherwise we know what is mindfulness is just being in the present. That's it. There's a practice if you can do. And how does it benefit us? If you look at it, uh, present moment awareness, it always improves our focus, concentration, cognitive abilities, overall well-being. And what are these practices what we can start off with the students, like small meditation sessions, breathing exercises, journaling, mindful movement practices like yoga, walking, mindful consumption. We keep telling them that, okay, this is the right kind of consumption, what you should be doing, and how does it make an impact, rather than saying, don't eat this because the earth needs this. No, make them realize, value nature, love nature. And I'm just, although it's a different perspective and everyone has a different perspective, I'm just talking about one mindfulness consumption for the students. How can we talk about it? It's always saying that, conscious consumption, like opting for eco friendly alternatives, which also includes, to be very frank, when you're reducing the single use plastics, choosing sustainable products. And nowadays, uh, recently there was a survey I was doing. So there also it was saying, do you support local and ethical businesses? So that's also sustainability. And how are we contributing it towards it is basically with mindful consumption. This concept of vegan diet right now. And students, there are many times they have this conversation, vegan diet sustainability. I said yes. you know Vegan diet, always these rishi munis used to have vegetarian diets and vegan diets also. So therefore it aligns with the principles of sustainable living. Animal agriculture, believe me, is a very important contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, water pollution. Now, whenever I say this, there is a conversation what the students say, but ma'am, we need, like, for example, you need a snake, so you also need animals, you also need a lion, you also need a tiger. I said, yes, but not for our consumption. Like breeding of animals for human consumption, what is happening? Are they not breathing? Yes, they are. So what is happening? So it is greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation to sustain them. Water is also getting polluted. So by choosing plant-based foods, what Rishi Munis also used to do, it reduces the impact on environmental impact. And always remember that, you know going back to our roots is sustainability, not just by speaking out or making people conscious. Now, when we talk about SDGs, we're talking about sustainable cities, we are also talking about no poverty. So, um, if we are talking about all these concepts, when we talk about the SDGs, how do we reach? What can a student do about it? This is what we are talking about. I once again, I'm just repeating what I said. I said mindfulness, such that, I the moment I'm talking about it, I act like being in present, non-judgmental, less stress. What the students nowadays have, like, there's so much of stress, emotional regulation, self-care, well-being, and most important, what I just said is, if you're mindful, so automatically you're sustainable. There is one more concept which keeps coming when we talk about sustainability is consistency. Bilkul, absolutely. How did I start off? I said, for me, what is sustainability? For me, sustainability is anything which passes the test of time, is long, forever, flexible. So yes, any sustainability as well as consistency is one and the same thing. So being consistent with my mindfulness, being consistent with my mindful consumption, is it going to help? Yes, it will help. Then, as a school, when we talk about, see, this is, I wanted the spiritual angle of sustainability over here. And I seriously request the students and the educators or the schools, whosoever would watch this, let's be mindful of what is the kind of content are we making our students exposed to. Content makes a person. Like, for example, there's a content, so I'm reading. So whatever I'm reading is what I am. Whatever I'm listening is what I am. Whatever I'm seeing is what I am. So from there, that is why meditation, yoga, right listening, awareness is our responsibility. As I started off, I said this is not just a profession. Like, this is something divine. And you have, you know, what I just said, thousands of minds, thousands of ethics, thousands of value systems. So we can impact them. So why not? As a school, what we do, I'll talk about bluebells. We have, in the morning, we have very short meditation sessions. We have sessions on mindfulness, right? And even if a child, if the child is coming late, it's not like punishing a child. We make them sit down, focus on present, what happened late, meditate for 5 minutes, be conscious of whatever happened, and come back to the class. Now, one more thing when I'm talking about, see, at when I'm referring to bluebells over here, so why, how can you actually make the students um, very, very conscious of the SDGs also? One is what I just talked about. Then is, so rather than just promoting, beta, these are the 17 SDGs and you need to know and you need to take action, I thought action is more important, and let them be the solution providers than just be people who talk about SDGs. We started off with this concept of design fair, design thinking fair. So, technically, when we talk about design thinking, the first step is empathy. We see there's human beings facing a problem. So, automatically, they came up with SDGs. Automatically. I didn't have to tell them. Empathy means what are the problems the society, economy, school, family, the world is facing. After that, obviously, once they do it, so we formed the groups and they ideated and they had the prototypes over there. And the first design fair we started, we said, let the parents know what these students are talking about. And every single project they talked about, the STG involved. And the project, see, when I'm talking of Project Seema, this is not like, okay, make a windmill and say, okay, which is already existing. Design thinking is something which is not existing at all. And you're creating a solution for that. So now I personally feel is not just saying, uh, ये करना चाहिए, and I feel karo, do it, action is important. So this year we had 320 projects, sustainable projects on SDGs by students from grade 4 to grade 12. Personally, for me, when I'm talking about sustainability, I feel this is the way we can actually create solutions around sustainability. And not just that, they're just creating. Also, talking about, on not as a principal or as teachers, we also practicing it. Simplicity, minimalism, self sufficiency. This, in case we make the students realize sustainability is there, SDGs would be fulfilled, which the whole world is worried. Are we going to attain in 2030? So, yes, we can, but provided we work on the roots, the result is automatically there. So, we can live in harmony with nature, adopting like practices, what I'm talking about, simplicity, minimalism, self-sufficiency. How? Organic farming, responsible use of resources, even water, when the water is dripping. When the students are doing this project, they know the scarcity of water, and they know that you have to save water. I don't have to tell them save water. They're finding solutions how to save water. I'm not telling them tap less, tap this, nothing. They're finding solutions how we can save water. Also at our school, we have this waste management, what we do. So therefore, recycling, composting, what the students are aware, they're actively participating in waste reduction initiatives on our campus, even the local communities. That's how they're working out here. So we cannot realize what kind of power centers we are as schools. We can move the whole world. I'm not just saying move the mountains, move the whole world with the energy channelization what we have with our students. You know, these are our students only with the projects. Like they created energy efficient uh, appliances using natural lighting. I didn't have to talk about it. So that's personally what I feel is very, very important when it comes to their students. Even like vegan, the concept of vegan, I kept telling them that okay, if we are vegan for a week, so what is the impact on the carbon footprint? Just check it out. And how would it contribute to mitigating the climate change? Suddenly, there was so much of rainfall in Gurgaon. So I said, okay, why beta? Why there was so much of rainfall? Okay, can we analyze? How can we reduce it? Can we take these steps and within a week, just check it out how much? Even grade 3 had this project of calculating the carbon footprint. Or one more thing I forgot here. There's this energy Swaraz, the person is Dr. Chetan, who's for almost what, like 100 days or more than that. He's out, he's in a van where it is completely solar energy, it's utilizing the solar energy. And constantly he's talking about, climate change. Recently, they had this climate change clock also, our students also participated, they made it. So the complete school, all staff members in our school, they have done this energy literacy certification. And believe me, when I was doing, even as like we are conscious people, but I was amazed, LPG, like small little things. The whole certification is you watch a video and you give a test, you watch a video, you're not cleared, you go back. So much of awareness. That also made so much of difference at our school in terms of sustainability when we are talking about. One more thing, what I keep talking to students is, create your personal action plans. One day missed, sustainability is gone. Even one day when we're talking about, let it be, reflect on whenever we are talking about on the current practices, what of consumption, energy usage, habits, identify areas where they can make changes, have the most significant impact, as I was talking about the carbon footprints. Then I tell them, okay, setting goals, the smart goals, specific, measurable, achievable, when we're relevant, time bound goals. And also, prioritize goals based on your value system and the areas what you're passionate about. Then one is, as I said, assessing the practices, setting goals. Then I said implementing sustainable actions. Break down the goals into actionable steps. And as a student, at times you feel, oh, will I be able to do it? Yes. But you need support and collaboration of your friends, family, community, everyone. Last is track and evaluate. Could we reach? Because I said, when I'm talking smart goals, so these are measurable, achievable. So could we reach those goals? And if done, celebrate the milestones. They come, they talk in the assembly, and they say, okay, this is what we have achieved. So basically, when we talk about sustainability, sustainable development goals, it's for a student, these are certain steps. One more last thing I would like to talk about, sustainability is not just about environment. What I said, spirituality also, I talked about the personal also. But for a student, sustainable study schedule is equally important. Why is it important? For long term success, maintaining healthy balance between the academic achievements and other aspects of life. So, study schedule has to be very sustainable. As I was talking about life, sustainable actions, what they need to take, few pointers, you know. First of all, set realistic goals. I'm going to study for 12 hours tomorrow. Not possible. Break down the larger goal into smaller ones, manageable ones. I can study for 4 hours this week, every day self study, and so on. Otherwise, it's going to be overwhelming to sustain. And always prioritize and manage your time effectively, I feel. Like working on focused burst with short breaks. That's also one. It is known as Pomodoro technique, So what happens is, like you work and you take short break. Again, you work spurts. and you work. So that's one way of working. Another way of working is time slots. I'm going to work from 10 to 11, take this break. So, anyways, that's your way of managing your time. Always, what I keep saying is consistency is important, taking breaks is important. In the whole thing, as previously also I was talking about, a healthy lifestyle is important. And most important to sustain is maintain a balance of the social media, which impacts the students now a lot. Also, spending time with friends, family, hobbies, interest, anything what passionates them. So that's also that maintaining of balance is also equally important. And always remember, sustainably in a student's life is about finding a study routine that works for them in the long run. As I'm saying, realistic few things, we should avoid cramming, saying that, okay, I'm going to do it later. So these are certain habits. If we avoid, we'll have sustainability in our academics too. Generally what happens is, as the students grow in grade 11 and 12, in primary middle, they keep asking questions. They're very open to it, but maybe that self-consciousness comes. So I keep telling them, it's not about what people think about you, it's about you coming to school, you studying, you're not going home with a question mark or any doubt. So that's important. So seek support, reach out, online communities, teachers, classmates, anywhere. But do not have a question mark, because that's also going to impact your sustainable studies. That's important. Now, when we talk about Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, he integrated sustainability into his life practices, if you look at it. How? One is obviously sustainable schedule, time management. Apart from that, advocacy for renewable energy, green technologies, environmental conservation, education. Constantly talked about the importance of education. Not only this, he also talked about sustainable agriculture. His vision was holistic development of society while preserving the planet for future generation. Is that not sustainable development goals? That's exactly what we are referring to. So here, when we are talking about, believe me, sustainability is, it has different perspectives. The first perspective is SDG goals decided by UN for the whole world. Every single member on this earth is accountable for that. The second is, it's something larger. To reach there, I need to be sustainable inside. I need to have sustainable habits, right? Thus, I talked about spirituality and sustainability. You talk about Vivekananda everywhere. It was always the same thing: sustainable living, interconnectedness, nature. But for that, you need to work on yourself inside. And from there, a conscious human being obviously is going to be sustainable, obviously is going to work for the environment. He's not self centered. The moment you say conscious, that technically means the whole world is one. You know, every human being is, as we say, namaste, namaskar. So I respect the other soul. So that's interconnectedness in terms of when we are talking about the complete world. Every single human being, every single living being, that interconnectedness. So while doing this, see, we have such rich culture, heritage. Go back, when we talk about, let's say, recently, there was a lot of heat. So this news pops up and saying 200 साल में गर्मी. So इसका मतलब 200 साल पहले भी गर्मी हुआ था इतना. तब तो ऐसा, there was no problem of climate change and all that. So that's one thing. Introspect on that part also. I'm not saying that the concern is right or wrong. I'm just saying introspect karo. Pehle bhi tha. So we have to go back to the roots from where we started. Uh, we're using this face wash, charcoal, and charcoal this. Why? This was a charcoal. What I think 2, 3 generations back, they were washing the utensils and everything. Why? Again, the same reason when we're talking about they were using it because that was healthy. So it's all about going back to the roots with development in place. It's not that sustainable development doesn't mean we're compromising on development. We're saying development with conscious citizens, conscious of the interconnectedness of the whole life, the ecosystem. So that's personally for me is sustainability. And for a student, sustainability, as I said, has two aspects: academic as well as their actions. So they need to work on both of them. And I feel generally, there's a question: who's responsible? I always say, uh, I am responsible. Every single person says I am responsible, it works. Rather than saying he did that, she should do. It's not someone should do, he is doing. It's about me. That's it. The moment every single person takes accountability, it works. So
Yeah.
you know, that's
Wow.
my perspective.
Wonderfully, wonderfully explained. You actually gave us a different perspective altogether. So I think, to all my dear listeners, you must have understood one thing, that when we talk about sustainability, what comes in mind? Acha, theek hai, do not use plastic. That is a general vague thought. Acha, theek hai, we are not using plastic. We have done, but ma'am showed us a spiritual side of it, which is completely ignored by many of them. They don't even know that this can be connected in this manner. So I think, along with sustainability education, as ma'am mentioned, you need to have mindfulness, you need to have conscious education, and the key to achieve everything is consistent, constant, measurable goals, realistic goals, which you can set and measure. So that is needed, because as she rightly said, one day you do and tomorrow you skip, or even if you skip a day, you are at square one
Yeah.
again. So that is
Yes.
what is again important. And I think ma'am also mentioned that it's not only about encouraging the students about this education, sustainability education. In fact, we all have a role to play in, and we all need to take our responsibilities and a step towards it. Another important thing which I realized, that why teach students about it? Why is it needed? Because it's not only that they will inherit something and how they should work about it. It actually changed the mindset altogether, and it has that ripple positive effect of that
Yes.
change, which will go on and beyond the walls of classrooms, and it will go into their life, pass on to the other generations ahead. So that is why it is important to talk on sustainability, provide this education, and take every effort possible to make it. And I'm sure ma'am has given such beautiful examples of the different kind of activities that she's doing at her schools, wherein she's giving children the practical experience of seeing how beautiful things can be. Ma'am, I recently had an opportunity to go on a safari. And when I was
Mhm.
there in the deep jungles, I could realize that how beautiful things are, how beautiful nature has balanced the living of plants and animals, and how the nature cycle goes on. And when we saw a dead zebra lying, our heart broke. Our children had tears in their eyes. So that is the effect when you experience this, that how what we have done as humans and how nature is supposed to be. And yes, there is a possibility of maintaining the balance. So these small efforts are important. Let children experience this, that how beautiful things are, how beautiful weather and environment is around there. And I think ma'am has given a detailed explanation on this. So please do tune in again and listen to the entire conversation again to understand on this, because it's very very in-depth topic. So before we conclude, ma'am, we would like to have some fun fact question with you. So we'll be starting a rapid fire round. Here, ma'am, you need to answer me in one word or a single sentence would also do.
Sure.
So here goes my very first question to you. If you were to decide top three utmost priority and qualities of a modern educator, what would be those?
First is adaptability,
Mhm.
creativity, future ready.
Wow. Wonderful. So I'm sure these three qualities you must have understood have very deeper impact, because even if you're not creative, you cannot you cannot can't be an educator today. You need to find out ways, and adaptable, of course. And yeah, and so these three are the qualities which ma'am mentioned. Moving on to next question. I know you are a passionate educator and there is nothing else that you want to be, but still, if you were not an educator, what you would have been?
Army officer.
Army officer. Wow. So serving nation either ways, be either being an educator or being an army officer. Moving ahead to my next question. How do you start your day? What is the first thing that you grab on?
The first thing is the moment I get up, I sit down for 2 minutes, and thankfulness exercise is something what I work on, like thanking everything around me. Then I start my day.
Wow, I think that is very, very difficult because the moment we get down of the bed, we are like, okay, we have to do this, quickly finish up everything, and we don't have time to thank either. So this is something really very important, and I think it also requires a very strict discipline to do this. You have to keep your mind at bay, practice mindfulness, and ensure that no, you have to think in the right direction. So moving ahead now to my next question: Are you a movie lover? Yes or no?
No,
No. So, do you think that our Indian cinema? It's a very powerful thing. We see and we follow what that. So, how our cinemas can have an impact into education? Do you think that yes, they can bring some positive impact if done in the right manner?
absolutely. Uh, if you watch, there's certain. It's not that I'm not a lover that I don't watch movies, but I like watching movies which have an impact on the society. Or
Right.
there was this movie Hitchki. I still
Yeah.
recall, the whole concept of the student towards the teacher also
Me too.
changes. And otherwise, apart from this, I am PGT, like I teach economics to the senior grades. So there I keep telling them, you should watch this movie, because there's certain movies which give a lot of perspective to the student. For example, we're talking about the state of Indian economy at the eve of independence. So I said,
Mhm.
okay, Aamir Khan ka movie, ye wala watch karenge. So that is how I keep talking about it. And there's certain Hollywood movies also. I'm not just talking about Indian cinema.
True.
Hollywood
True.
movies also, which give amazing messages. So I think that
Right.
works well. That really works well.
Yeah, and talking about today, we are talking about sustainability and planet. So Avatar was a movie, which actually
Yes,
showed that how nature is interconnected with the humans and with those avatars that were living there. So moving
absolutely.
ahead to my next question, any favorite book and author that you'd like to tell us, and a book that one must always read?
See, very interesting. I would just,
Mhm.
it is just there. And I
Old,
think, yeah,
old
old.
path, white clouds. All right.
This is technically, the teachings of Buddha. And I think reading it what for the second, third, fourth time. And it's not just this. See, for me, I love reading. So it's right now with me, so that is what I'm talking about. And when we were young also, there's certain books which made so much of impact in your life. So
Yeah.
that way. So not one particular,
True.
but right now what I'm going through. Mhm.
Yeah, and I think the way you express yourself, one can make out that you are an avid reader. There is so much of knowledge that you have attained while reading all these books, and that's how you express yourself. So it is very important. Actually, a book changes your perspective and gives
Yeah.
you a new path altogether. So moving
Mhm.
ahead to the last question in this segment, ma'am, a message for our upcoming educators and parents.
Um, when I'm talking about educators, I would say do not take this profession light-heartedly, like a 24/7 continuity of learning and giving. So I feel take it like a dharma and say that I'm here as I care for my children. I'm mindful of the fact that we cannot close door to any child. So this would, believe me, change your whole perspective. Now for the parents is what I always tell in my orientation sessions also, saying that this is a different life. This is a different soul. Do not live your dreams via this soul. The soul has a different journey. Support, nourish, nurture the journey, but don't influence or change the path.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful concluding note by ma'am here. So thank you so much, all my dear viewers. Let's take a pledge towards a sustainable life, sustainable future. Let's take our steps. So thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us. And to all my dear viewers, keep in touch, keep stay connected with us, and follow us on our social media platforms to understand what are the upcoming episodes, and get glimpses of that. Until next time, keep innovating, keep inspiring, and keep cultivating greatness in your school, within your schools, with all the stories that we bring through, all the guidance that we get you from the different educators from across the globe. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. It was really a privilege to host you today.
Same here. Thank you so much. Always, we should thank the space which gives us an opportunity to self express. So, I think this was the space. Thank you so much, Seema.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.